Sometimes there's some that are all, delivered globally, but for the most part, it's based off of, what are the lenses that I like and that I use, and then it's going to serve me more of those. Okay, so that's where the lenses that the Snapchat team creates live. The next thing I want to show you guys is if I publish a lens on Lens Studio, so I don't work for Snapchat. Well, I do work for Snapchat, but say if you didn't work for Snapchat and you weren't an official, or you weren't, part of the lens team, maybe if you were just an official lens creator, where would your lens live? So what we're going to do is, if we're looking at our lens carousel, we're just going to click on that little magnifying glass icon that says Explore. Okay. And it's going to open up Lens Explorer.
Okay. Is that an iPhone 11?
It is. Are we drawing at lens? Are we drawing? Shafi, what do you mean? Are we drawing at lens? I don't know if you want to clarify that maybe. But anyway, so this is where all of our community lenses. Nice. Yeah,
no, it just maybe if you walk through how you got there again.
Yeah. Okay, good point. So again, if we're looking at just our lens carousel, good. I see a couple of people holding up their phones. If we're looking at the lens carousel, we just click on this little magnifying glass icon that says Explore. If you're on Android, it might look a little different, but it should say Explore. Cool. And then you're going to see all, yeah, exactly. I see a couple people are holding it up now. These are all lenses that are made by members of our community. Yeah, I see someone, nice. Someone says that they're already a fan. Great. And the other thing I wanted to point out to you guys too is if you see any of these that have a yellow star next to their profile, so like this first one right here, it says hair color light. If I click, she's got a little yellow star next to her profile. And if I click on her profile, you can see she has this special, collection of all of her lenses. She's got a bio. So these are all exactly perfect. Azra, I see you holding it up. Yeah, so these are all official lens creators. So you can see one of the great benefits of the program is that you get improved visibility, you get improved reach, you get featured on this page, and they've got different categories at the top. You can search. So there's a lot of cool features here. Can anyone guess how many people how many people do you think use AR on Snapchat every day? How many people can you reach on Snapchat if you publish a lens on Lens Studio? Any guesses? 100?
100?
100, okay. Any other guesses? 200? 100 also. Okay, so in terms of, maybe I didn't phrase the question correctly, but so 300. Okay. We on Snap, there's about 150 million people that use AR every single day. So when you publish a lens on Lens Studio, you have the opportunity to reach up to 150 million people with your lens every single day. Yeah, so it's really amazing scale. So a lot of the official lens creators, when they create a lens, it'll get 10, 20, 40, 50 million views. So it's a really kind of amazing program. Similar to like a YouTube almost, where you have like a YouTube channel and you can build up your subscribers, and some of them will have like millions of subscribers. Official lens creators function kind of in a similar way. So yeah, with that said, feel free to play around with Lens Explorer, pick some of your favorite lenses, use them as inspiration, and then I'll pause again. Any questions before we actually move into part 2 and start using the software? Nope. Okay, cool. So I'm actually going to hand it over to Tasha for leading our first template, and then I'll kind of pick things back up. So I'll be answering questions still in the chat, and then I'll talk a little bit later in the session as well. So Tasha.
Cool. Can you guys hear me first of all? Well? Yes. Okay. Perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and present my screen then. Like Noah said, if you have any questions throughout the workshop, just type it in the chat box and I'll try stop and address your question. Okay, here we go. Here we go, 1 sec. Can everybody see my screen? Yep, okay, cool. All right, so this is what we're gonna open up to. So this is a Lens Studio template. This is what, if you open Lens Studio on your own laptop, this is what it opens up to. As you can see, there are a couple of lenses that we've already discussed here. So we talked about the pet lens. There was also the one that we talked about in the video. So there's a couple of marker lenses. And this is basically just the templates that Lens Studio comes pre-installed with already. So you guys can have a look after we're done with this workshop and you guys can see if there's any other lenses that you guys want to play around with. And oh, here we go. And you can see if there's any other lenses you want to play around with and take like more of an interest in. We'd love to see what you come up with and what you create. But I'm going to talk you first through our first lens. So we're going to focus on a face lens. So I'm going to go ahead and click New Project. And it's going to open up, if you see Lens Studio, it's going to open up to these 5 different panels. So if you can see the preview, it's currently focusing on my own face. So before, if I did this, this is just a template that Lens Studio comes in. But if you want to see the lens actually work in real time on your own face, then you can go ahead and press the webcam camera so you can see that. So I'll just talk through the 5 panels first. This is the objects panel. So this is where, through these 5 panels, this is where we'll be selecting things in the objects panel. Then you've got the resources panel. So say if we wanted to import something into a lens, like a GIF, this is where we'd go. We'll play with that a little bit more later. This is also the scene panel. So can anybody guess what this is focusing on right now? Anybody in the chat or anybody want to unmute themselves? What is this middle bit, the scene panel? What do we think it's for? Person on the screen to preview our models. Okay, all good guesses. This is essentially the camera. So this is actually the lighting of the lens, and this is essentially the camera so that you can see in a 2D scene what it looks like. So that's actually really, really cool that Lens Studio is telling you about that. And then this is the inspector panel. So this is where we'll be working in most of the time. This is where we'll make most of our edits in the inspector panel once we've selected what we want to edit. And then the preview panel we just talked about just now. The preview panel is where I can actually see my face and can see the lens working in real time on my face. So we're going to start off with the first lens that's fairly easy. So I'm going to go to my top left corner. I'm going to press File. I'm going to press New Project from Template. I'm going to press Face. And then I'm going to press Sunglasses. So again, we go to File, New Project from Template, Face, and then Sunglasses. So that's going to open up this Sunglasses template. And you can see that's working in real time, this template on my face. So everybody got that open? If anybody has any issues getting that open, just let us know. Feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, so when we've got this Sunglasses template open, we're going to start making our first edits to this lens. So I can go ahead and if you can see in my inspector panel, this is where we'll make our edits. You can see that it's telling me what the frame color is currently. It's telling me what the lens color within the frame is. So I can go ahead and I can play around and I can change that frame color. So say I wanted it to be red, I can go ahead and change it to red. I can change it to purple. So if we all just go in, we make our first edits to the frame color. And then I can also go ahead and make an edit to the frame size. So say those sunglasses were way too big for my face, so I want to make them a little bit smaller. So yeah, I can change the frame size under frame size over here. I can also go ahead and change the lens color. So say I wanted to change that. Everybody following? Everybody okay so far? All good? Yep. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So essentially, this is a pretty simple template that you guys can have a first play around with. And what we can do is we can just play around with that for a little bit. So let's just see how we're going here. We're changing the frame size, changing the color. The person that said they're trying, what kind of issues are you having? No one Hafiz, I'll get you to help out those two people. All right, cool. Then we're gonna go ahead. If you can see now, it says custom reflection in this reflection texture over here. So essentially, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna import our first GIF. We're gonna import our first thing into this template. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go over to my resources panel over here, which is where I would import something. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click Jiffy. So if you see, this is an integration that Lens Studio already has with Jiffy. So essentially what this is that you can import any resource that you want to into this resources panel, and then we can try and import it into our lens. So say I wanted to import this stay at home club sticker into my sunglasses. What I'm gonna do over here is I'm gonna click this on the right-hand corner on the plus sign. I'm gonna click that. It's gonna give me 4 options. And for now, I'm gonna add it as a resource. Okay, so back again, just to show everybody. We're gonna go over to our resources panel. We're gonna click Jiffy over here. I'm then gonna say I want to import something that's to do with staying at home. I'm gonna find the one I wanna import. I'm gonna click on the right-hand side and click add as a resource. And what we should see is that it comes up on our resources panel. Can everybody see that on their own screen, that it's come up on the resources panel? Yep. Okay, awesome. So what we're gonna do then is we're gonna go and click on reflection texture over here in our inspector panel. So we're clicking on reflection texture, and under Jiffy imports, this should say now what we've imported. And if you can now see, so mine wasn't actually a very good example, but if you can now see, this has come up in my sunglass lens in the reflection texture. So let's say, let's pick a better example. One sec. So let's say I want this woman to come up. I'm going to click again, add as a resource. And then I'm going to go over to my inspector panel. I'm going to click on it. And under Jiffy imports, I'm going to import my Jiffy. Here we go. So I can play with how intense I want that to be as well. Under reflection texture, it says reflection intensity over here. So you can choose it for it to be really not intense, or you can choose for you to be completely blocked out and for it to be really intense. Oh wow, Adam, did you just say you finished making your own lens? Cool. Do you wanna unmute yourself and tell us about it? And like how you made it? Have you played with Lens Studio before?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. It's not like I'm used to it. I tested out yesterday about this Lens Studio, and I searched it on YouTube, and then I did some tutorial. That's basically what I did.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right, just one more thing. So say if we don't want to change the reflection texture. Say if we actually want to change, if you can see, I've clicked the button custom sprite. And that's showed up with these two cats right now that are in my eyes. If I want to do the exact same thing and I want to change this image that's just showed up in the sunglasses, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go again to Jiffy. I'm going to click this one because I really love coffee. I'm going to add it as a resource. And it will show up right there in my resources panel. Then I'm going to click sprite texture. And then I'm going to click the coffee sticker. And that's going to show up in my sunglasses. And again, I can play with the intensity. So I can choose for it to be really, really light. I can choose for it to be really prominent in my sunglasses. Yeah. All right, awesome. So this is just a really easy first face lens to get you guys started. And then we're going to move on if anybody doesn't have any questions. Does anybody have any questions? No questions? All right, cool.
The software can't support my laptop.
I have
really
a quick question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Go ahead.
What's the difference between reflection texture and sprite texture? I put both and doesn't seem like they merge.
Okay, yeah. So basically, can you see on my lens how the reflection texture is the background behind what the coffee is? Can you see that on my lens right now?
Not sure.
Okay, so Noah, do you want to help out?
Yeah. So really quick, so kind of like an overview. So the reflection texture is actually, if you think about like, if I'm outside and it's really sunny and there's like this cool background or whatever, and I'm wearing reflective sunglasses, in the reflection on my sunglasses, you're going to be able to see the scene around me. So basically the reflection texture is the image that's facing your sunglasses, and then your sunglasses are reflecting whatever that image is. So like Tasha, if you turn up the reflection intensity, that little slider bar, you guys can see how the reflection becomes stronger or weaker, whereas the custom sprite is like the little icon that's just kind of placed on the sunglass lens.
Yeah. So essentially, the reflection texture is the layer behind the custom sprite that is actually in real life. Say you could say that's reflecting off your sunglasses, whereas the custom sprite is, see this coffee cup that I've now put in there. That's the custom sprite. So that's essentially the figure on top, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you. I understand now.
All right, awesome. Okay, so this is our first face lens that we're going to play with. We're now going to go ahead, so everybody tends to love this one. We're going to go ahead again and say we want to save this first. So we're going to go to File. We're going to press Save As. If you don't want to save your masterpiece, you don't have to, but I really enjoy this lens, so I'm going to save it on my desktop, and I'm going to call it Sunglasses 01 and go ahead and save it. So just like you would in like a Photoshop or you would in any other of the softwares, we're going to press File, Save As, so we don't lose our template. And you'll see it changes up here as well. And then we're going to go and click File. So we're going to start with our new template. We're going to press New Project from Template. We're going to press Face. And then we're going to press Distort. All right, everybody got that? File, New Project from Template, Face, and then Distort. So it's going to go ahead and load a new project. And essentially what you can see right now is that Lens Studio has tracked my face and it's made some edits that's already into the template. So the objects panel, as you can see, already has this template in place. And essentially, Distort is what my eyes are doing. You can see the eyes are a bit bigger than normal. My face is a bit chubbier than normal. But this is a really fun template. And if you guys are Snapchat users, you would have seen this in the lens carousel once or twice before. So I'm going to click the one under Face Inset that says Edit Me in my Objects panel. You'll see that this will come up here in my 3D scene. And you can see that you can make edits in the inspector panel. What we're going to do for now is we're just going to make an edit and try with the mouth. We're going to learn how to duplicate something. So I'm going to right click on this Edit Me. I'm going to press over here, as you can see. I'm going to press Duplicate. And then what I'm going to do is in my 3D panel, if you can see, Lens Studio automatically puts the mouth over the original mouth. So it's duplicating it where it actually is. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move that mouth on top of my head. So now, as you can see, very funny, I've got two mouths. I've got one on my head and one originally there. So if everybody goes ahead and tries that, so once again, if I just delete this for now, I'm going to click under Face Inset Mouth. I'm going to click the Edit Me button. And then I'm going to go here. I'm going to press Duplicate. And then it's going to come up with two mouths. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make the edit and move my mouth. Yep. Are we all good with that, everybody? That's creepy. Yes, it is very creepy. Has everybody managed to duplicate themselves? Any comments on this one? Cool. has everybody managed to duplicate something? So you guys can try the eyes. So if you see under here, face liquefy, it says the eyes. So you guys can try and duplicate your eyes. Sometimes what we do, that's a really fun challenge, is we do like a 4 eyes challenge. And that's quite fun to see. Cool. Okay, awesome. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna play with this feature here, the face stretch. So if I'm gonna click that in my objects panel, you'll see that it now comes up with this option over here in the 3G scene to make some edits. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pull around. If you see in the preview panel, it's literally making these edits real time to my face. So I'm gonna give myself a really, really long chin. Gonna pull my face a bit in and out. So if you just guys can go ahead and make some edits, play around with the lens. Anybody has any questions at all, stop me. It's pretty creepy, right? What you can do.
Sorry, Tasha.
Mm-hmm.
So all things is good, but I'm trying to preview on my face, but I cannot. It just black out. I'm just using at person 1. That's only. It's
Okay,
good.
so you're using
Yeah.
the person instead of
Yeah.
using.
Yeah.
Is it something to do with your webcam? Maybe is your webcam blocked or is it not working?
I'm not sure, but at the Google Meet, it's functionally really quite good. But I'm not sure at this lens app.
Okay, yeah, maybe it might be something to do with the webcam. But even on the preview, you can see how I can still make it edit and it's still working with her.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No
I
worries.
might try without Google Meet after this. Maybe it's function.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I think Connie and Darren, you guys are recording this anyway, right? So you guys will be able to watch this back?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, cool. And what I want to do right now is actually show you guys how, if you wanted to use this on your own Snap app and use the specific lens that you guys are making on your own app, you have the ability to do that. So if I go here to my top right in Lens Studio, you'll see this option that says pair your device. So I'm going to click it and it's going to say, let's start pairing. So you have to have Snap on your phone, but I think all of you have Snap on your phones. So it's going to say, let's start pairing. I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to scan the Snap code. So if anybody knows how to do this, essentially what we're going to do is scan the Snap code. It's going to come up on my screen and it's going to say pair. Okay, so once I've scanned the Snap code, it's going to say pair with Lens Studio. And I'm going to click pair. It's going to go ahead and it's going to say pairing device. It's going to say your device is paired. And then now, as you can see, it says push lens to device. So I'm going to click push lens to device. Let's push your lens. And then you can see it's going to say sending lens. It's taking a while probably because of my internet. One second, sorry, technical difficulties. It's not showing up. So I'm going to try one more time. Let me try push this lens to my device. Here we go. Now it's showing up. Right, and essentially what's going to happen, so I'm going to take a snap. I can now see that lens straight on my own Snapchat app. That's really scary. It's really, really scary. But essentially, since I've pressed this button, since I've now paired my phone and I've pushed the lens to my device, that lens will now show up on my own very personal Snapchat app, and I can now send that to all my friends that I have on the app. Did anybody get lost along the way or anything? Everybody got that? That they were able to pair their device? Got it? Shafi, you're asking how to scan from my phone. Essentially what we did, so just to talk that through slowly again, this will show something different for you guys. But essentially what it will say is push lens to device over here. It'll say pair first in the top right-hand corner. So it'll say pair, and then it'll say, let's push your, after that, it'll say push lens to device. And then after that, it'll be, let's pair your lens. Let's push your lens. And then it'll show up on your phone. It'll give you like a button to tap it. It'll say tap to preview your lens. And then once you've tapped it, it'll show up on your phone.
No. I mean, I want to pair. I got this QR code, but how to scan from my phone? Yeah.
Press.
Oh, you mean how to actually scan the snap code? The snap code.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially what you do is if you see my phone on the snap code where the snap code is, I'm just gonna press down on the snap code like this, and it will scan it. It will give you an option. So literally just put your phone.
Okay.
Got it? Okay, you just put your phone. On the snap code, you just press down on the app.
Okay.
Hello,
Hello?
Tashak. How can I reset the face stretch? I want to it back
Okay,
to normal.
Right, so you'd just go back and you'd make that edit here. Do you see? In the 3D panel, just go back and make it back into a normal face.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Oh.
So I can stretch it in my 3D panel. I have to click the option here, face stretch. So I click that option, it'll give me the 3D scene. And then if I want to go back to normal, I just go back to the normal face. Okay, cool. Has anybody else got any questions on distort? So you guys have seen the mouth, you can play around with the eyes if you want to duplicate or you want to do anything. Any other questions? Can use the chat. Nope, no other questions? No, okay, cool. So now we're gonna go into a little bit of a different template. It's still a face template, but essentially what I'm gonna show you is this template that is using the background around me and is tracking in between my face, and it's understanding the difference between my face and my background, okay? So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna go again and press File. We're gonna press New Project from Template. Since we're still using face lenses, we're gonna press Face, and then we're gonna go ahead and press this button over here, Segmentation. Okay, just again, File, New Project from Template, Face, and then Segmentation. Do I want to save this project? Yes, I'm going to go ahead and save it again. It's going to load the new project. And now, as you can see, Lens Studio is understanding the difference between my face and my background. Yep. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now, just like we did with sunglasses, if you can see in the inspector panel, it comes up with a color. So see, this color is already there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play around with that color. You can see it's changing the background. I can also choose how strong I want that color to be under color alpha. So it can be a really, really, really intense green, or it can be a bit lighter as a background. If we go down here as well to tiled settings, we can see, so the speed at which these love hearts are moving behind me, so I can control that and I can play around. And now they're moving really fast to the right, or really fast to the left. I can also play around with the other scroll speed and have it moving a bit faster up. So if everybody just has a little play around in the inspector panel. Anybody have any questions thus far about that? No. All right, cool. So I'm going to show you also how cool this technology is in terms of Lens Studio, understanding the difference between your face and your background and the different parts of your body. So we're going to go over here and we're going to click under the inspector panel under segmentation texture. We're going to go ahead and click that. So if you see what it comes up with is it's showing me all these different types of textures. I'm going to click segmentation texture. And now you can see that Lens Studio has actually understood the difference between your face, your background, your hair, your shoulders. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click portrait hair segmentation. And you'll see that now changes to my hair color. So just for anybody that didn't see that again, we're going to go into the inspector panel. We're going to click segmentation texture and then segmentation textures. And I'm going to choose, previously it was our background segmentation. I'm going to choose portrait hair segmentation. So that now it's my hair color. Any questions? Thanks. I don't think it looks great, but thanks. If I want to play around as well, I can change it to my shoulders. So this is essentially how Lens Studio is understanding the different parts of your body and your background. Can change it to my head. So we can really play around and see all the different things we can change it into. Okay, so just for the sake of this template, I'm going to go back and change it to my background, just so we can see. And then now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to import a GIF as well, because I love these love hearts, but I really want to change it into something else. So I'm going to go and I'm going to import a GIF from Jiffy. Let's try give you guys a theme for this one. Let's say I want something to do with, I really like pizza, and I really like that now I'm at home, I can eat as much pizza as I want. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click, once again, I'm going to add it as a resource. It's going to show up in my, resources panel. Then I'm going to go click image texture, which right now is a heart. So in our inspector panel, I'm going to click image texture. And I'm going to change it at my background as the pizza sticker. And I can play around with the image alpha. So I can also play with how intense I want it to be, the image, or how light I want it to be, either one. So let's do it. Let's do this one for you guys. Let's do this around something that you love eating at home. Okay, so if you want to say, I also really enjoy, maybe I really like bread. If I type in bread into Jiffy, it's going to give me a bunch of different bread GIFs. Okay, so I really like this one. Once again, I'm going to add it as a resource. And then going to go over to my inspector panel. I'm going to click image texture. Then under my imports, I'm going to change it to the bread. Any questions, anybody? Is everybody following? Is everybody on the same page? You guys can use the chat. Yeah, so okay, can I add the sunglasses from the previous projects? So yeah, because they're two different templates, it's a bit hard to do, but what I can show you that you can do is, say I wanted to add some sunglasses to this, not the actual sunglass template, but I want to add some sunglasses. I can go over here to my objects panel. I can press add new. I'm going to press the search bar, and I'm going to press face image. Okay. So this is what comes up once I click face image and add new. And what I'm going to do is, right now you can see that image is changed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to import some sunglasses from the Jiffy integration. So I really like these ones. I'm going to add it as a resource once again. It's going to come up here, and then under texture, so image texture in my inspector panel, I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to import my sunglasses. So it's not the exact template that you guys did before, but you can import any GIF that is sunglasses. See, so I can now play with that in my 3D scene. I can make it bigger so that it actually fits my face, because right now it doesn't. Yep. Does that make sense? Cool. Awesome. So everybody, once again, that didn't see that, I just went to add new, and I searched for face image, and I clicked that, and then I literally just changed, I imported a GIF once again, and then I changed the texture over here under our inspector panel, under image texture, and I went there and I imported it from my Jiffy imports. So yeah, now you just learned 3 different face lenses. So can anybody tell me the first 2 that we learned? What they were called? What's the first one?
The first one was the sunglasses.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. First one was sunglasses. The second one was called
Segmentation.
The second one was called distort, and this one is called segmentation. Yeah. So everybody got that? Okay, cool. So I'm going to now hand over to Hafiz, and Hafiz is going to take you through a world lens now. Yeah, sure. Yes, not from this template specifically, but I'm gonna let Noah, if we have time at the end, we'll try to include that in. Yep, that's more to do with it's like a trigger, so you're actually like moving something in your mouth or you're moving your head, and then that gets included, but it's not from this template. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm gonna stop presenting, and then I'll hand over to Hafiz. Has anybody got any questions just whilst we're here to do with any face lenses that you guys just learned about? Nope. Okay, so those 3 were face lenses. They're really cool. They're the ones, so you'll see like the puppy dog filter, those kinds of things. They're actually like Lens Studio is understanding your face, and it's making edits to that, and Lens Studio really enables you to be able to play around with like the color of the lens, the alpha, how intense you want it to be. So it's like a really, really like cool software in terms of you can literally make these edits to these templates that are there already, and then see it on your own phone in real time. So I don't know whether anybody found that really cool, and they pushed their lens to their device more than once. But that essentially is the whole beauty of it, is that you can make a lens instantly and push it to your device and then share it with people.
Cool.
Cool.
Right. So if there's no questions, I guess I'll take over. Thanks, Tasha. So let me just share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna go from doing a face lens to a world lens. So what we're gonna do is, if you just wanna open a new project from template, if we go to world, and if we click cutout, I'll just discard this one. It's loading the project. Give it a minute. So now we have a whole new preview panel. So some of you guys might still be on your front viewing camera. So what you want to do is you actually want to see this little button here that says switch to front or switch to front. So this would be your front camera. So if you just click this, it'll switch the camera to your back camera. Because world lenses, they don't work on your face. It only works on the surrounding, on the area in front of you. So if you want to do that, and then you can actually change like what sort of previews you want. So you can have, so I have a beach here. I can go brick, cactus. I think I'll just go with brick. Great. Is everyone keeping up so far? Cool. Great. So first thing that you actually want to do is, you see all of these cutout controllers on the objects panel? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and delete both of them. So if you just delete that and delete that. So now we're only stuck with only one object. So previously we had those three objects. Now we only have that one object, which is the face, this monster face. And what's cool is like on the preview panel, I can just move it around, see how it looks there. And you see how like it also automatically creates like a shadow. Because if you look at the scene panel here, you can see that the lighting is pointing down at the objects, which is how it creates the shadow there. So what we can actually do is if we move the lighting, we can move the lighting here. You can actually change like the position of the shadow itself. And here you can also change like the density of the shadows. So you can have no shadow. We can have like a really dark shadow. We're gonna keep it around there. So now what we're gonna do actually is we're gonna import a GIF, replace it from that template that we have here. So if you all remember how to import a GIF, so we can just go to Jiffy. And I like Pokemon, so I'm gonna look for say Pichu, sorry. So we're gonna find a Pikachu lenser. So what I'm gonna do, it's the same as before. I'm just gonna add GIF as a resource. And it's now here on my resources panel. I'm gonna go to the cutout controller and the edit me, click on that. And then similar to what we did before, just click on the texture, right? And now what we're gonna do is basically just click on that on the resource, and it should change the object on my panel. So now you can see like I have a Pikachu running around. So instead of the monster, I now have like a Pikachu running around. So just go back on what I just did. What I'm gonna do is gonna go to the cutout controller, edit me. First of all, you wanna find your Jiffy first. Find a Jiffy. Gonna the plus sign and then add as a resource. And that's going to put the GIF to my resource panel. And then in the objects panel, click on cutout controller. And then at texture, you just want to click the GIF you just imported and click OK. And it should change the GIF there. Did everyone get that? Any questions so far, guys? So just going back, so what's sort of this goes back to what Noah said, like what's sort of the difference between sort of like a face lens and a world lens? Can anyone remember? If you're brave enough, you can unmute your mic. How to move the lighting again? Yep, correct. Good question. How to move your mic. So if you go to your 2D scene panel, the question was, how do you move your lighting? If you go to your 2D scene panel, if you click on the light here, see that? And then where it says transform, that's where you can actually change the position of the camera itself. I mean, you see that little position and rotation? That's where you change. You can move it around, but I would just stick it to where it is now. Did that help answer your question? Any
Sorry, really quick. I think someone had a question in the chat.
Yeah.
Can you clarify, is the image position relative to 3D space, or is it just on the screen? I don't know if, Shafi, if you want to unmute and maybe clarify. Or...
Yeah, quickly, I just want to know how the shadow, the lighting work to make the shadow.
Yeah, so it works similar to like a 3D, if you ever use like a 3D Blender software, where the lighting actually fixes the position that's going to show on the that's actually going to show on the Snap app. So if you position it in front, then the shadow will be behind. So it's kind of like that. So it just shows the positioning of the lighting from the application itself.
Yeah, sure.
Does that help answer your question?
Yeah. I get it now. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Great. No worries. So now actually what we're going to do now is that now I have one object. I can actually make multiple objects. So it's pretty straightforward. What you have to do is just right click the cutout controller, click duplicate. So now I have two images, but I only see one on my preview panel. Does anyone know the reason for that is? Why I click duplicate, but there's only one shown on my preview panel? Any guesses? Yep, correct. So once I click duplicate, they actually form a layer right on top of each other. Now to move my second image, what I have to do is I have to go to my scene panel, my 2D scene panel. And essentially what I'll do is I click W on my keyboard. If I click W, you'll see these arrows, right? And what I can do, these arrows actually control the X and Y axis of my object. So I can move it. So if I click this blue arrow, I'll move it forward. You see how you can see the other image? If I move it here, click left, and I click this one, move it left, move it forward. So now you can see the actual two images itself. And what's also cool is that I can just click on this second cutout controller, and then actually change the texture from like the Rick and Morty head back to the Pikachu one that I clicked before. So now as you can see, I have two objects on my screen. So just going back again, what I did is that I right click and click duplicate. So now there's one layer on top of the other layer. So what I had to do is I had to go to my scene panel, click W on my keyboard, and it will show the arrows where I can move objects in my scene. Now, what I want to do now is actually to test my lens to see if it works on my front camera. So what I'll do is I'll push lens to my device, go to my Snapchat app, push my lens to this. Sorry guys, the internet in Indonesia is a bit slow, so it might take a while.
Has anybody, while we're waiting, has anybody got any questions about like a world lens versus a face lens, and or this cutout lens in particular? I can see Shafi's already trying the world lens on his phone, having a good time with it.
Very
Yeah, sorry
interesting,
guys,
anyways.
it's taking too long, but maybe guys, if it worked for you guys, maybe you can show your phone to the screen and see what kind of world lens that you guys create.
You can unmute yourself, guys, and if you want to talk us through it, we've got a couple of minutes. Yeah, Shafi, what are you showing us? Let's see. Can you describe it to us?
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
Cool.
Nice. Very cool.
Awesome.
Thank
Nice.
you for the knowledge.
Yeah.
Anybody
awesome,
else want to
guys.
show us their lens?
Yeah. Sorry guys, but my internet's really slow. So, but I think you guys get the gist of like what you have to do. So then the same process, you can actually just file and save your project. And I think that's it for the world lens. No, do you want to?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah.
would you mind actually just showing us really quick? So if we've got a lens completed, how do we actually
Sure.
publish the lens? Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. So now, if I've satisfied with the lens I've made, what I will do is, and I want to publish it, what I do is I go to File, and I'll publish my lens. So it'll take you to the My Lenses page where it'll show all of your previous works. So internet's slow. Yeah, sorry guys, my internet's really slow.
No worries. Okay, well maybe so. Hafiz, did you have
Okay,
anything
here
else?
we go.
Oh, you got it.
Okay, wait. Let me just switch account.
Okay. I think it might be lagging a little bit, Hafiz. Maybe I can show.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can show on really
Is it
quickly.
showing now? Yeah. Hey guys,
No worries.
let me just stop presenting then. And I think Noah, you can show on your screen how to do it.
Yeah, can do. So really quick, guys, I'm going to show you. Let me pull up another. I'm going to show you guys. So say we did have a lens ready to go that we wanted to publish. how could we actually put it on the Snapchat platform so that, if you guys remember, does anyone remember what was the name of that section of the Snapchat app where all of our lenses from different lens creators live? Does anyone remember? Anyone? Lens Explorer. Yeah, exactly. So Lens Explorer. So that's where, if you guys remember, all of the different community lenses that we create live. So I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you. I want to go ahead and publish the lens that I made on Lens Explorer so that other people around the world can use it. So what I'm going to do, well, first let me just present. Cool. You guys can see my screen? Yep. Cool. So if I've got my lens here, it's looking pretty cool. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to, first, I'll show you guys where kind of your account lives. So if you go to this little arrow next to publish lens, so if you're looking at your Lens Studio, if you go up to the top left corner and I click on this little arrow, I can click on my lenses and it's going to show you all the different lenses that I've created. And it's going to show you my metrics. You can see, you know, on each lens, let me see if I can find one. You know, how many people have played with your lens, how many times they've shared it. My metrics are not very good, so I really need to work on my lenses here, you can see. But, you know, so this one had 160 views. Yeah, so this is where you can kind of track all your stats. And then if you did want to publish, you can just click in the top left-hand corner where it says Publish Lenses. Okay, so quick pause. Connie, do we have a couple minutes? Do we want to show the trigger for the sunglasses? Cool, yeah, can do. So I have kind of this lens right here. I wanted to show you guys one other aspect of lens, of kind of a simple template, which is called behavior scripting. So you can kind of see if you look at my lens right here. So if I open my mouth, or sorry, if I raise my eyebrows, you can see it's going to add the sunglasses. And then if I raise them again, it's going to take them away. So what I did here actually is I added a behavior script. And so a behavior script is essentially almost like a recipe where I'm telling Lens Studio, if this event happens, then do this. And you can see I've changed my event to be me raising my eyebrows. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and delete my behavior script just so I can show you guys. So you can see now I've got just my regular sunglasses, just like Tasha added earlier. So maybe if you want to go back to your previous template, you can reopen that project. So I've got my sunglasses. The next thing I'm going to do is I need to actually import my behavior into my Lens Studio, which means I'm going to need to add a new object. So if I'm adding a new object, I'm going to come up to this little objects panel, and I'm going to click on Add New. And I'm just going to scroll down until I see this sub option that says behavior. Okay, so you're going to see helper scripts and then behavior. So I'm going to hop back over to the VC really quick. You guys we're all following along? Yep. Even just a thumbs up. Cool. All right. Now what I'm going to do, so I've got my behavior script added, okay? And the next thing that I need to do is similar to like a Photoshop. So all of my objects are organized in different layers in Lens Studio. So I need to make sure that my behavior script goes to the correct layer. So what I'm going to do is right now you can see it's pinned under this camera. Okay. So I want everyone to just, once you've got your behavior script added, I want you to drag it all the way down to the bottom so that it's its own layer. So you can see not nested underneath the segmentation controller, but all the way on the bottom on its own, okay? Then the next thing I need to do is I need to make sure that my face image, so you can see these sunglasses right here, are correctly organized underneath my camera, okay? So you can see I've got my camera layer, my head binding, and my image, okay? So we've got everything set up now. I imported my behavior script. I set it up as a new layer, and I checked that my sunglasses here, my face image, are in the correct place under my camera. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna go in and we're gonna build the script. We're gonna build kind of that recipe. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on my behavior layer, and my inspector panel is gonna open up this list of options, okay? And then I'm going to change my trigger to a face event, okay? And this just means it's gonna look for an event that's happening on my face. Now I'm gonna change my event type so you guys can choose kind of whatever you'd like. I'm gonna do browse raised again, okay? So I'm gonna show you how to set up kind of the rest of the stuff in here, and then we'll do a quick check-in and make sure no one got lost, anything like that. So I've got face event for trigger. I've got browse raised. I'm going to change my response type, okay, to set enabled. And you can see it's going to open up another sub option here. Okay, and then there's two more things that I need to do. One of them is a little bit tricky. The other one's a little bit easy. So the other one, so first I need to just change my action to toggle, which basically means if I raise my eyebrows, it's going to go on. If I raise my eyebrows again, it's going to go off. And then I'm going to need to set my target. So this is, we've got our script set up. It's going to look for a face event. It's going to look for me raising my eyebrows. Now I need to tell, and now it knows that it's going to take this action. I need to tell Lens Studio which of my layers is it applying this toggle to, okay? So we're going to go to target. And I'm going to go, if you guys remember earlier when we set up our layers, I'm going to go to my camera. I'm going to expand. And I'm going to look for my image layer. Okay. All right. So I've got, now my target is set for my image. Okay. And then watch if I raise my eyebrows. I've got a little, sorry, something in my eye. I've got a kind of simple behavior script in my lens. Cool. So any questions, guys? Any concerns? We'll start to wrap it up here. I know it's been a little bit of a longer session. Cool. Okay. So Tasha, Fitz, did you guys have anything else you wanted to add before we move into the wrap up? Cool. I'm glad you guys are here.
No,
I'm good.
I can think of. Yeah. If anybody has any questions about anything right now, feel free to ask.
Hi. I
Yes.
have a question. Is it possible to make the world lens and the face lens work together so that two lenses work at the same time?
Yes, that's a great question. So the short answer is yes. However, it's like a good bit more complicated. So one, it would kind of depend on your question. So there's kind of two different things. So one is like can I have a lens that if I turn it on my face, it has one experience, and then if I flip my camera around, it has another experience? The answer is yes. And we would just add two kind of distinct sets of cameras and layers in our objects pane. And then just muting. The second kind of thing is like, could I have, I'm standing in a scene, there's like an AR tree or something in my lens next to me, and I'm wearing a face lens as well. And again, like, yes, it's possible, but it's like a little bit more complicated. So in a second, I'm going to show you guys some more resources where, say you want to do stuff, you know, you're feeling comfortable, you're liking the software, maybe you're interested in learning more about AR, like where can I go, how can I improve my skills? So that's kind of going to be the last like 5 minutes, is I'm just going to show you guys around a couple of resources that we have that you guys can use. And I believe, I apologize, I forget who just asked that question, but there's some stuff that we'll show you that will help you. I see someone else put a question. So are those yeah, so we do have world lenses where you get to almost like step into like a house or like some sort of like a 3D setting. Those are also all made on Lens Studio. So they're obviously a lot more complicated, and it uses like 3D modeling and a couple of other like skills and softwares as well. But you can create those on Lens Studio, and those are examples of face and world lenses together. Cool. Any other questions, guys, on the software before we wrap up?
Hi. I have a question, but I think it's not about the software because I'm not using the software right now. I have problems.
No worries.
I have a question about becoming an official lens creator. Yeah. Okay. Is there any other benefits that we get besides than having our lens being used to the public? Like, you know, being like an official YouTuber, you could get income by people viewing your videos, right? Does an official lens creator get some side incomes or anything other benefits than having people using their lenses?
Great question. Yes. So there's a lot of other kind of perks of being an official lens creator besides just the placement in the application. So, you know, on the light end, you get really cool swag, like you get, you know, a lot of fun perks of like being a part of this, you know, community of 150 people. Every year we have this event called Lens Fest, where we fly in all of the official lens creators from around the world to Los Angeles for this really fun, you know, kind of multi-day event where you get to visit the Snapchat headquarters and make all these cool lenses, and there's a lot of really awesome experiences. Do you get to work with brands? Great question. Yes. So official lens creators have the opportunity to partner with brands. You know, you can work with like a Coca-Cola or a movie studio. And we actually have a program within Snap where if a brand approaches us to make a lens, a lot of times rather than our internal lens team creating it, we just direct them to an OLC who can help make it for them, and they're able to get paid for their work. And a lot of times, you know, these lenses, they'll charge like $5, $10, $15, $20,000 for a lens, depending on the complexity. So a lot of, not a lot, but some, yeah, very nice. So some people do this as their full-time job. But great question.
So yeah, so if we want to start, like, do we need to pay some fee or anything to start as an official, or are we just going to like register to be an official lens creator?
Yeah, another good question. So there's no fee. You know, it's a totally free program, but there is an application process. So we try to select, you know, it's not a perfect system. We evaluate candidates like holistically, but we do try to select people who are creating, you know, culturally relevant lenses, who are creating lenses that are some combination of high quality, really popular, innovative, some kind of combination of that. So maybe you do really cool lenses around like sustainability or, equality or something like that. Or maybe you do, and that's your thing, but you're not that technically advanced. Or maybe you do really technically advanced lenses that are just like, cutting edge technology. Both of those could be a candidate for being an OLC. If you specifically are interested in becoming an OLC, so one, we can provide a resource after the call where you can join this group and learn more. But the way the process works is like, go on, start creating some lenses. And once you publish like probably 5 to 7 decently quality lenses and maybe they get some traction, you can go ahead and apply on that website.
I see. Thanks for answering my question, Noah.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for asking. Anyone else have any questions? No? Okay. All right. So I just want to show you guys, another. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, did someone have something to say?
Hello, Noah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, hey.
So in the Snapchat apps, the yellow star one is the official creator, right?
Yeah.
So how about the gray star?
The gray star. Do you have your webcam? Could you show me? I don't know of a gray star.
I saw it at the Explore. Some of them have a gray star.
I don't actually know what exactly that might be. So maybe let's follow up after the call. Oh, wait, I'm trying to see now. The gray star. I don't think that's any like verification or anything. That might either be, so good question. I'm looking. Tito's, I'll look. Thank you for the example. Sorry, I'm just trying to look it up on my phone. Yeah, it might just be a part of their username. Like they might have included like an emoji or something in their profile. Or it could just be a part of our UI. I'm not entirely sure, but to my knowledge, it's not a program that we have. Do you have a favorite filter? Wow.
Deep question.
I think my favorite would be, there's a bear one. I like the animal ones, or like the moose. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. Moose lens. Darn, I wish I could find it. Okay, well, I'll be looking while I'm kind of showing you guys the next thing. Any other final questions? No? Okay. All right, so the last thing I kind of wanted to show you guys to walk you through, unfortunately, I couldn't find the bear lens. I'll put my snap in the, we'll share actually our contact info after the call with you guys via email. So if you guys want to reach out, if you have any other questions, anything that we can help with, definitely let us know. So then just kind of to close out, the resources that I wanted to show you guys. So if you go to lensstudio.snapchat.com and you click on reference, there's all of these, templates where you can go through each one of our templates. So today we went through like sunglasses. There's, all these tutorial videos. It's going to give you a step-by-step. If you go to guides, they've got all these different, categories. So how do you share a lens? How can you do segmentation, adding text, adding face masks. So they're really high quality kind of tutorials that you guys can use. I know from my understanding, your program kind of encourages you to, dive into all these different digital platforms and learn all these software skills. So this could be a great reference for you guys. The last thing is I wanted to show you our forum. So this is just a really great place where you can share your creations. You can, ask questions. I can type in like mixing templates. And I'm going to get, how can I combine multiple templates? I'm going to get all these different discussion topics where lens creators, people, staff members from Snapchat, all these different people are going to ask questions and provide different answers. So, and normally if you ask a question, you get a response in less than 24 hours from someone on the Snapchat team. So I just realized that wasn't presenting, so sorry. Is there any other software to create lens besides Lens Studio? So is there any other software to create? So you can't create a lens anywhere except Lens Studio, something that'll live on Snapchat. There are other AR softwares. I'm obviously a little bit biased, but I think that we have the most user-friendly and the kind of easiest to use. And also we typically like considered industry standard for like the most flexible and the most powerful, where you can, do the most and you can reach a ton of people. So Spark AR is Instagram's platform. If you look, it's, very similar. Ours kind of was the first one out, and I think we set a lot of the industry standards, but there are other platforms. Sorry, that was a very windy answer. Any other questions?
Hello?
Yes.
Sorry. Can I ask? Can I animate my own Bitmoji on the Lens Studio?
Yeah, that's a good question. So unfortunately, you can't create your own animation with your Bitmoji, just because we don't license the Bitmoji assets. But we do come out with a lot of Bitmoji lenses. Like there's normally one every day in your carousel, and you can create other 3D objects. So you could create like a 3D character of yourself, and you could animate that, or you could do like a volumetric capture, and you could turn that into a lens. So cool. Any other last questions, guys? And then we'll wrap up. Cool. Okay. 2 more things on my side, and then we'll be good to go. I'll turn it back over to Connie. One, I'm dropping our second survey in the chat right now. If you guys could please just go to that link and complete our like post-workshop survey, it would really help us, and I'd really appreciate it. And then the second thing is, so we're going to be sharing after the session an email with our contact info, some more resources, and then info about this Lens Creator Community group. So this is essentially, it's like a Snapchat group where every week we do online forums, we do workshops. When hopefully the shelter in place is lifted, we'll start doing in-person workshops. We've done in-person meetups. So you can meet other people from the Lens Creator community. You can improve your lenses. You can get feedback from our current OLC in Malaysia. And Tasha, Hafiz, and I are in the group as well. So we'll see some of the stuff you're creating. So I would say if you want to have any interest in creating, if you have any interest in becoming an OLC, or if you're interested in Lens Studio, the #1 thing you should do is actually join this group, because it's going to be a really great tool for you to learn. And yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything, always feel free to reach out. So did everyone get a chance to complete the survey? Thank you, Darren. Cool. Okay. Well, Connie or Darren, did you guys have any other thoughts? I think we're good on our end. Thank you guys so much for joining and for being, honestly, this was the best virtual session. You guys were super, energetic and you participated, and I really appreciate that. So thanks, guys. And
thank you, guys.
I would love to see some of your lens creations too.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much. Tasha,
Thanks,
and-
guys. Yeah, Connie, if you want to share with us later after the challenge, if you want to share with us some of the lenses, that would be great.
Yeah, it'd be great to see like what you guys create.
post one already.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
It was really fun.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
very
Bye-bye.
much.
All right,
Yes, okay.
bye.
Thank you, Noah.
Bye. Thank you, Noah, Tasha, and Hafiz.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Noah,
Noah.
Dasha, and Hafiz.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Danish.
Are you?